and welcome to the first and hopefully not the last episode of the Weekly AEW News Kick, or WANK for short. I will be your host, Tom, and I'm joined by Patrick.
Hello.
And Jack.
Hello.
As you can probably guess, this will be a podcast primarily focused on AEW. If you have somehow found this podcast without knowing what AEW is All Elite Wrestling, an American wrestling company started by Tony Khan, son of Shahid Khan, the billionaire who owns Premier League football club Fulham and American hand-egg team, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Every week, we'll be providing recaps and reviews of AEW's weekly television show Dynamite, as well as news and conversation about AEW and the wider wrestling world. Right, lads, here on my notes I have written down, ask Jack and Patrick a little bit about themselves, which makes me sound like the host of a dating show. So, Patrick, why don't you tell us how old you are, when you first got into wrestling, and what you'd do on a first date?
On a first date, definitely not take her out to an ECW show. So,
is that when you first got into wrestling, ECW?
Not really. But it was in the beginning, or when I found out about wrestling, started wrestling as soon as I found out about it, like really my favorite promotion because of the unique style and a little edgier style than WWE. So I started wrestling or watching wrestling, I guess like everyone maybe around that time. I'm from the 80s, so I got it like wrestling action figures also. Some friends had it in kindergarten, and probably, as you can hear, I'm German from my accent, so...
Never.
Hopefully not that bad. I'm not like Angela Merkel doing it like this way. No,
so like what's your earliest memory of watching wrestling? Sorry to cut you off there.
Yeah, it's earliest memory, I really don't know. Like I said, in kindergarten they had the wrestling action figures, but the first really thing was like late 90s, beginning of 2000s, when there was WCW on sports television channel. I watched it. Unfortunately it was Thunder, so it really sucked, but the first time I saw it, and I liked it. So, and then after like 5 years later, it came back to private TV, which was for everyone there. Like you could watch it for everyone. Then it was like on a brighter audience again. And then I really started like with SmackDown was on there, like the European version, cut to 45 minutes, and then you know the story. Then you get down into the internet, into the rabbit hole, and then you're caught in there forever.
Okay, and Jack. Now Jack is my baby brother. So some same questions to you, really. When did you first get into wrestling? How long have you been into wrestling? I know you've probably got two different answers for that, because you used to watch it like casually back in the day, Sky One Saturday mornings or whatever, and also got into it, properly more recently. So yeah, same questions for you. And what would you say your best physical feature is?
So it's always you were into it. So I obviously was watching it when you were watching it every now and then, and used to practice wrestling moves for me, which I remember frequently just being thrown down onto sofas and mattresses and stuff, and that was fun. Taking bumps for you.
Is there really any point in having a younger brother if you don't?
That's it. I think I can't remember what even. You'll probably be able to talk about it more. But yeah, always just remember taking bumps from you. Knowing you were into wrestling, playing wrestling games with you, and you always wanted to play with me just because you could beat me really easily, and it boosted your ego. And then from the next stage was probably WWE, as most kids probably get into it. I remember I started a YouTube channel. It wasn't really a YouTube channel, but I remember
this.
Yeah, the channel name of Transformer Lover, because I was a big Transformers fan.
That's so cringe.
Transformer Lover, and the end was 619 because my favourite wrestler was Rey Mysterio, and I still love Rey Mysterio to this day. And I had a mate, Charlie, who was into wrestling as well, and he was John Cena fan. He got me into John Cena, which I regret now, but I still like John Cena. I like what he promotes, but not as a wrestler as much. So that was the early start. And then, yeah, as you said, Tom, casually, then I watched a couple of WrestleManias with you. That was kind of like my yearly event as such, which I'd watch with you each year. I used to watch SmackDown or Raw every now and then, but that was the thing we did to each other, and we got snacks and stuff. We made a proper night of it, but it always used to be main evented by Roman Reigns, and that was when I used to go to bed because I couldn't be bothered to watch Roman Reigns. And then it was Wrestle Kingdom. You're like, right, we're doing WrestleMania, we'll also do Wrestle Kingdom. And obviously that then introduced me to the Bucks and Kenny and the whole new better side of wrestling for me. So I obviously then dropped WWE, and then from Wrestle Kingdom started watching New Japan shows, and then from then started discovering like Ring of Honor, And then obviously AEW then came along.
Used to watch Final Battle, didn't we?
Yeah, Final Battle we watched. And then, you started learning all about these other wrestlers from like indie shows as well. Like we watched Joey Janela's Spring Break, which we obviously know about Joey Janela from there. And then AEW came along, and that's when I started watching it a bit more religiously every week. Watch Dynamite, watch all the YouTube channel stuff they post. I still don't watch Dark, so I haven't sunk that low to watching Dark every week. But
I did at the beginning. I was into it.
I did, but then I fell behind, and I was just like, I can't keep up with this. I'm not bothered. And they show the results now on Dynamite anyway, so I don't, unless there's a match I really want.
They used to have like proper matches on there. Do you know what I mean? Like I remember
Janela versus Kenny.
Janela versus Kenny. Yeah. Exactly what I was going to say. It was like a unsanctioned match, wasn't it? Yeah. And now every match is a squash match. You can predict the outcome of, except the last one. The last one's always the only one you may not necessarily be able to call.
Yeah, there's usually one. Oh, a favourite feature about myself. It's got to be my legs. Cracking pair of legs on me.
Cracking pair of legs. Beautiful calves. Definition. It's like
it's the thighs.
Like a carved out of marble. So I'm Tom. I'm 30 years old. I like long walks on sandy beaches. I remember my first wrestling memory is probably the Hardy Boys. Well, that's my first memory of watching wrestling. Like Patrick, I think I was exposed to it elsewhere, like outside of watching it on telly to begin with. I remember we used to go to a football club as a family at the weekends, and there was a guy there who used to give me wrestling pogs. Do you remember pogs? So there were like these WWF pogs and slammers. This is kind of showing my age a bit here. And it had like The Undertaker and Bret Hart and Doink the Clown and stuff, Jake the Snake on, those kind of guys. But I wasn't really properly watching wrestling at that point. But I remember just flicking through the channels and seeing the Hardy Boys coming out. And I don't know, Patrick, you're like a historian with this stuff. Were they in the Brood or the Hardy Boys, or were they in the Ministry of Darkness, or both?
That's a good question, actually. Yeah. I don't really know if they were in Brood or so. No.
Well, this podcast is getting off to... No, it wasn't the Brood.
Wasn't that Edge and Christian?
Well, Edge and Christian were in it, but I didn't know if they came in later or... Anyway, they were in some sort of dark thing to begin with. I think the Hardy Boys when they first debuted. I don't know whether they were in it when I was watching it, because they were coming out on their own, but yeah, I just remember seeing them, thinking these guys are cool. I stuck around, so this was probably like 98, 99, so I've probably been watching about, like over 20, 21, 22 years now. Yeah, and like you guys, or like Jack, I discovered, you get into the internet and discovered New Japan Pro Wrestling, got into the Bullet Club, got into Chaos, got into Suzuki Gun, all of them. Just really loved the kind of faction style wrestling over there. And then obviously followed the Kenny Omega iteration of the Bullet Club through to AEW. I think that's it for
I actually have to add something.
Oh yeah, no, go for it.
Just got it. Yeah. Because what got me really into WWE then, because I said we had just WCW in the beginning, what I completely forgot is WWF SmackDown on PlayStation.
Oh,
that was
God,
the first, I had the game, I didn't have anything WWF-wise back then, and I can remember my first ever favorite wrestler was Mankind, so
yeah.
I don't know, as a kid.
I've heard that from a lot of people. That I have a friend online, an actor friend, who said I've suggested AEW to him, and he was like, "Is there a game out?" And I said, "Well, there's one coming out." And he's like, "Well, I'll wait for that then," because that's how he got into WWE. Was he played the game first, and then he knew everyone already from the game when he watched the television show, and so he said, "That's what I'll do with AEW. As soon as the game comes out, I'll play that, and then I'll give the show a watch." Which is, I mean, fair enough if that's how you go about it,
Yeah, right. So to be honest, I have a lot of non-wrestling friends who also never watch the products or really don't like watching the shows or so, but I can always play video games with them, wrestling video games. I love that because another dimension, really.
I bought every WWE like main game since SmackDown 1. I also played WWF Attitude a bit, but I didn't own it. My friend had it on PlayStation. But yeah, all the way from SmackDown 1. The first one I didn't buy was WWE 2020 because it was so abysmal, not just from the reviews, but from looking at stuff online. I think it's got like overwhelmingly negative on Steam or something, or very, something like that. Just a mess. And that's the first one I didn't buy. But up until then, even when I wasn't watching, because I don't really watch WWE, I don't hate them or anything, and I will tune into the occasional NXT or something to see what's going on over there. And I watch Royal Rumble because that's fun, and we can bet on it. But I still bought the games though, so it says a lot, and I'm really looking forward to the AEW video game, as I'm sure you guys are.
By the way, talking about it, since we're on the right place now, did any one of you see the video of the new, the second video of AEW games now? I noticed that there was nothing. I didn't see anything online. I saw that there's something on YouTube channel, or it was in the show they showed it shortly the link to it, or that is on the channel, but I didn't see anything on Reddit or somewhere else that something happened there, to be honest.
See, I got a bit confused, I have to be honest, because we watched the first one. They had the video with Kenny Omega and was it Chris Jericho? And then they had Hikaru Shida come in and had an intergender match or something. I saw that one, and then I thought there was a second trailer going up, but then they were announcing Kenny Omega's gaming show, wasn't he? He's got like something a bit like Xavier Woods now has with up, down, down. He's got, I can't remember what it's called, Kenny's one. But then they were announcing that on, Jack was nodding his head, so he probably knows more about it. But
yeah, it's just like a Q&A stuff. So it's just Kip Sabian with Kenny, and it was like, these are the frequently asked questions. It was just like, what's the release date? And Kenny was like couldn't give a release date, that sort of stuff. It was like, what sort of features can expect? And there's loads of cool stuff. We can talk about that if you want. But yeah, that was basically all it was anyway.
Yeah, so no, I was expecting a second trailer, and then I saw that and said, I thought that must be what it is. But is there a second trailer then for the game?
Yeah, there's not a new trailer coming out there, but there was a little clip for the General Manager game saying about what you can expect from that, and also the casino game they're doing, the Double or Nothing. That's the other mobile game they're doing. That's expected to be out, Kenny said, within 60 days max. So it could be any time from tomorrow to 60 days time it'll be out. So that's the first one, and then I imagine General Manager, because that's looking like it's coming along nicely, and then the main game will be out. And he said it could be some point this year, it could be next year. They've not got a release date for that one, so that's the order I'm expecting it to go. I'm
actually quite excited about the General Manager game, because that was, do you guys remember, well, I don't know if Jack will remember, but Patrick might remember something like SmackDown vs Raw, like 06-07. They had like a General Manager mode in that, and it was so much fun.
That was a lot of fun, and they tried to make it on like in the other games afterwards, but it wasn't that much fun, to be honest. Like, they had smaller pieces of this, but not as wide and full like the first SmackDown games.
Well, they kind of tried to integrate it into like universe mode, didn't they? And they just kind of watered it down, because before there was no like in-ring stuff, so they just completely focused on like a manager mode. But then when it was like going from Football Manager to FIFA. Do you know what I mean? Like FIFA career mode, like it's fun. I love FIFA career mode, but like Football Manager's the management sim. Do you know what I mean? And that was kind of what it was with the GM mode to the universe mode. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I see a lot of people being negative because it's a mobile game, but I don't think the management one will have any microtransactions or anything. The casino one might, but I'm still going to play both of them because I'm a mark.
Yeah, I'm still also like the casino game will definitely have microtransactions, but I think the GM game won't be without microtransaction, because that's what it is nowadays. Just a little thing off, I just bought the Football Manager 2021 from Sega for the Android, like the touch version, and I paid £16 for it, and there's still microtransaction in it if you want to, like a cheating thing, and there will be always, because this is gaming nowadays. But
that's just the in-game editor in it, because I think I bought that for FM last year because I was trying to cheat the way out of it, where I could change the teams in each leagues without buying a new one, and it said, to do that you can use the in-game editor, which I bought, and then it turned out to be a fraud.
Oh, I will just say one more thing about the game. I don't think the General Manager one will have microtransactions, and we'll put a tenner on it.
That's fine. Let's see what will it be. So in the end, I would be very glad if it would be a paid game, like you pay $5 for it or so, and then you have it without any microtransactions.
Oh, that's what I think it'll be. I hope. But I'm with you on the casino one. But I think they'll be quite fair, because I don't know, they just seem like that kind of company. But maybe they'll break our hearts and it'll be terrible. But I'm optimistic. So, if this sounds like your kind of podcast, make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, as well as following us on Twitter and Instagram at WANK Podcast. And if it doesn't sound like your kind of podcast, then follow us anyway. I'm sure it will get better.